Hey guys, welcome back. I hope you guys are holding up and doing well. For today's video, I am back with another BH Cosmetics review. Today's palette we're going to talk about is the NOUVEAU Neutrals 26 color shadow and blush palette. I did get this a while back and it caught my eye just because I love the tones of blushes and just the whole vibe of the palette. So that's what I'm going to be reviewing today. I'm going to give you my thoughts on the entire palette, show you some swatches, and then you'll see my 3 looks towards the end. So if you guys are curious about my thoughts, then just continue watching. Alright, so this is what the palette looks like. You get your shadows up here and then your 5 blushes on the bottom. So this is $18 US, which is really affordable considering that you get like 26 shadows in total. But the eyeshadows, there's a mix of mattes, metallics, and satins, and all the blushes, they are all matte blushes. So let's talk about the eyeshadows first because I am in love with the tones of the eyeshadows. First, the formulation is amazing. They blend out so nicely. They are super pigmented. There's a bit of fallout with these shadows when you hit it in the pan, but I don't really see any fallout when I am working it on my eyes. The tones of these shadows are just so flattering against my skin tone. These are the tones that I really love. They are pigmented, but they're like muted. They have that very soft glam vibe, and I do like how you get the mix of warm tones but also the berry tones. I do wish that there was a little bit more of medium shadows, like medium matte shadows, because you have a lot of pretty transition shadows, but then there's nothing like really in between these transitions, and then you just get like a really dark brown. I wish there was a little bit more medium to work with, but nonetheless you still can create very well-rounded looks. You can create a half cut crease like I did today, but yeah, you can create a smoky eye, you can create a cut crease, you can use this as a natural look, you can do more of a vibrant look with more of the pinks and oranges. So I think all around these shadows are very pretty, and some of these eyeshadows just really speak to me. Like they remind me a lot of the ColourPop It's a Princess palette, and that is like my favorite palette. This shade up here reminds me a lot of Triton. Also this metallic over here, the one that I'm wearing on my eyes, is just my perfect metallic, honestly. So to me personally, there's a lot of special shadows in here. They seem like shadows that you could easily compare or dupe, but I just have a soft spot for these kind of shadows, so I really enjoyed these shadows. And the formulation, again, it was just so easy to work with. So I think all around I just had a really easy time playing with this palette, and all of these looks are looks that I would just wear. Like if I'm not filming, I'm just going out, this is a palette that I'm definitely going to pick up. But the blushes, I love the blushes as well. I love how you get the range here. I do love all the blushes. I think with different eye looks, there's a blush to complement the eye look, which is great. And you guys know me, I love being monochromatic, so I just love how there's a variety of blushes here. But it would have been really cool if they did add the bronzer and highlighter, because you just have your eyeshadows and your cheek powders all in one place, and I love the idea of that. But nonetheless, I do love the blushes in there. They are super pretty. They are pretty pigmented, so I would say go in with a light hand, dust them off on the back of your hand and then apply, but they're all very pretty. I love matte blushes. They're my favorite type of blushes to wear. So all around, like, I'm just loving this palette. I do have a couple of cons. It has nothing really to do with the formulation or the shadows itself. It's more of the packaging. This packaging is plastic. It feels, I don't want to use a word cheap, but it does feel quite cheap. It's like, you know, it's not high quality, and maybe because of the price point they had to use a cheaper packaging to maintain it at that price point. The actual case that the shadows are in is in this like plastic casing, and also it's extremely hard to open. I don't even shut my one complete because it's just so hard to open. If I was to close it, but I don't know if it's just like I'm really weak or I don't know, it's just, let me get this open. If you have fake nails, you're probably gonna break a nail trying to open this palette up. So I think a con is definitely the packaging. If you were maybe to travel with it, I don't know how well that's gonna work out, because it seems like it's gonna be very fragile. Who knows, a shadow might like pop out or like shatter because the packaging is just not sturdy. And then my second con is that there is a scent to the palette. When you open it up, you're gonna smell a scent. I mean, it doesn't smell too strong, but I think when you first open it, you're gonna like it's gonna hit you a little bit. Once you apply the shadows on your eyes, you don't smell it. I think it's just the initial open. You kind of get used to it, but I thought I would just mention that. But to be honest, those two are the only cons that I really have, is just the packaging and the initial smell. So you guys, overall, I would highly recommend this palette. I'm so in love with it. Like, I'm so surprised that I love it so much. Like, I didn't think I was gonna find these beautiful mattes and metallics in this palette, but I did, and I love it. It's my favorite BH palette. I feel like this palette is a palette that not many people know about or really rave about, just because it looks so everyday. Like, it doesn't look like anything special, but I feel like those palettes are the ones that I typically like. So I really enjoyed this, guys. I would recommend it to you. $18 US for 21 eyeshadows, 6 blushes. If you can look past the packaging and the initial smell, then honestly, it's a really well done palette. So that being said, we can now move into my 3 looks. So for this first look, I'm going to start off with this medium tone brown as my transition shadow. I'm going to work that into the crease using windshield wiping motions. I think this shade is the perfect crease color. It's not too light, not too dark against my skin tone, so it blends really well against my skin. I love that. I also do take this shadow onto my lower lash line as well, just to give some definition to the lower lash. Then I am moving into the dark matte brown, and I'm gonna focus this shadow mainly at the outer third of my eyes. This is a technique that I always do, and you guys have seen me do multiple times. It's just a technique that you can fall back on, and it's going to look good no matter what shadows you use. But I'll also take this shadow onto my lower lash line as well. But this time I'm going to press it up against my lash line instead of diffusing it out. And I do bring it towards the inner corners of my lower lash. Not all the way in, but almost there. Then taking this satin light brown, I'm going to put this at the inner third of my lid space and also towards the inner corners of my eyes. You can see that I am using a very big fluffy brush just to diffuse the shadow all over. This is such a pretty satin shadow, and I think satin shadows come so handy when you don't want to do something so glam, but you still want a bit of a sheen on your eyes. I love using these shadows for this purpose, so I do bring that all the way in towards my inner corners to highlight that area as well. But now I'm just taking a brown liquid liner, and I'm going to go back into the dark brown matte shadow, and I'm just going to use this to smudge out that liner so everything is very soft, smoky, and diffused. As for blush, I'm taking the first blush in the palette, and I'm going to apply that to my cheekbones and blend that back towards my bronzer. And this, you guys, is the first look completed. I wanted to create something that was very quick and easy to do, more of like a soft, natural glam. So I hope you guys enjoyed this first look. Very minimal steps, very easy to create, but it still flatters my eye shape. So I hope you guys enjoyed this first look. Alright, and now onto the second look. I'm gonna start off with this light peachy orange shadow, and I'm going to work this at the outer corner of my eyes as my transition shadow. I'm just using windshield wiping motions to get this shadow blended out. I'm also gonna take the shadow onto my lower lash line as well, just sweeping that from the outer corner right to the inner corner. And then I'm actually going to be taking the third blush as an eyeshadow, and I'm just going to work this in my crease, blending that up towards my brow bone, just working the shadow as a transition shadow. And I think the blend of the pink in the inner corner and the orange at the outer corner gives a very pretty sunset vibe. Now I'm taking this like muted purple brown. I'm gonna work this at the outer corners of my eyes once again, but I'm mainly just focusing this product on my lid space. I'm not gonna blend it up too high into my crease. I just want a bit of definition at the outer corner just to deepen out that outer edge to enhance a cat eye shape. I also do take this shadow onto my lower lash line as well, but I'm mainly gonna focus this at the outer third towards the middle, and I'm really gonna press this up against my waterline. Now taking this metallic light pink shadow, I am using this wet, and I'm gonna place that at the inner third of my eyes, pretty much on top of the pink transition shadow. This is a very beautiful like satin metallic, so it's very subtle, but it still gives off the sheen of a metallic shadow. So I do take this into my inner corners to highlight that area as well. But now I'm just taking a brown liquid liner, and I'm going to use this to line my eyes and also create a wing. I will go in with the dark brown from the palette to smudge this out and smoke out the wing. And for blush, I'm just taking the third shade, which is the same shade that we used on our eyes as our transition shadow, just to tie in the entire look together. And this, you guys, is the second look completed. It is a very girly, fun eye look. Very much a soft glam, so I hope you guys enjoyed this second look. Alright, so we are now onto the final look. I'm gonna start off with this light orange shadow as my transition shadow. I'm just going to place this in my crease using windshield wiping motions, and then using more circular motions to blend that up towards my brow bone. I love the tone of this shadow. It's not too dark, not too light, just the perfect transition shadow, and it blends out like a dream. I'm also gonna take this shadow onto my lower lash line as well, just sweeping that from the outer corner right to the inner corner, but making sure at the outer corner we are connecting the shadows. Now going into the dark matte brown, I'm going to work this at the outer corners of my eyes, just really getting the pigmentation there first. And then once you have little to no product left on your brush, that's when you want to start bringing that towards the inner part of your crease. I'm also taking this shadow onto my lower lash line as well, but I'm only going to press it up against my waterline at the outer corners as well. Now I'm taking my P. Louise eyeshadow base. You can use a concealer if you like, but this is just what I have on hand. I'm gonna use this base to cut out my crease. For this look, I'm doing more of like a soft cut crease. It's not going to be too intense, but definitely you still can see the definition of the cut crease. So I'm just doing what I usually do by placing that at the inner third of my eyes, bringing that up past my crease area. Now going into this beautiful light rose gold champagne shade. I'm using this wet. I'm going to place that right on top of that P. Louise base. I think this is the prettiest metallic shadow ever, up my alley. I love this shadow so much. And the way that we're creating a soft cut crease is that there isn't a lot of dark shadows underneath the crease to contrast against. So you can see the slight definition, but it's still very subtle. But now I am taking this light cream satin shade to highlight my inner corners as well as my brow bone. Taking the ColourPop BFF liquid liner, I'm going to use this to line my lash line and also give myself a wing, but I'll also go back into that dark matte brown to smoke this liner out to give it a very diffused look. And lastly, just going in with my ColourPop Creme Gel Liner in the shade Honey Dude. I'm going to use this to tightline my entire bottom waterline. And for my blush, I just went in with the fourth blush from the palette, and I just applied that to the tops of my cheekbones, and I blended that back towards my bronzer. And this, you guys, is the final look completed. I hope you guys enjoyed it. I think this look is perfect for any of you guys that have been wanting to try a cut crease out, but you don't want to go all the way. I think this is like a good in between. You still can see the definition of the half cut crease, but it's very subtle and it's like more of like a soft glam. So I really love that, and I hope you guys love this look as well. Alright you guys, so those were my 3 looks. Be sure to let me know down below in the comments which look out of the 3 was your favorite. I personally loved all. I love how each one has like a different vibe, but the look that I'm wearing right now, look 3, is just speaking to me. But if you guys did enjoy this video and found it helpful, give it a thumbs up. I would appreciate it so much if you guys did. Thank you guys so much for watching. Please subscribe if you haven't already. I love you guys. I hope you guys are doing well. I'm sending you my love, and I'll see you in my next video. Bye!